Now, here's a question you don't get asked every day. How big is your carbon footprint? Or what about this? How does your carbon footprint compare to your peers? No idea, right? Well, fair enough. The problem is that carbon is invisible. You can't see it, so in order to understand carbon, we need to somehow make it visible. Now, you see, we all know that the releasing of carbon emissions into our atmosphere is the primary cause of climate change. Many of the things we do in life create carbon, but most of us don't know just how much carbon we're responsible for as individuals. To start with, we should try to measure our impact. But guess what? Measuring our impact on the planet isn't something we usually do, and frankly, that's wrong. We need to measure our impact because we care. We care to make the planet a greener, safer place to live. So, how big is 1 kilogram of carbon emissions? No idea? Well, this is how big it is. It's a 1 kilogram cube of carbon. Want to see another example? The steps involved to create a single hamburger represent 1 kilogram of carbon emissions. Every day, North Americans eat enough burgers that if you stacked up the carbon, it would go to the moon and back 5 times. That's a lot of burgers, and that's a lot of carbon emissions. Do you search the internet? Well, performing 140 searches will create 1 kilogram of carbon. Drink 6 cans of your favorite soft drink, that's also equal to 1 kilogram. Even leaving the lights on in your classroom for 1 extra hour creates 1 kilogram of carbon. Remember the carbon cube we showed you earlier? In just 10 days, Canadians produce enough carbon cubes that if stacked up would be as tall as the CN Tower. Creating carbon happens with everything that we do, including when we go to school. For example, carbon emissions are created from the electricity and natural gas used to power the buildings that we learn in. I bet you didn't know that buildings all over the world are what create a majority of the world's environmental impact. While we can't completely avoid creating carbon, we should start by making it visible so we can learn how to use less of it. As students, you should be the change that you want to see in the world. Imagine if each student in Canada reduced their carbon footprint by 1 kilogram a day. That's 1 less hamburger. So let's do the math. 8 million students in Canada, each losing 1 kilogram a day. That would result in about 3 million tons of carbon being taken out of the atmosphere, and that's huge. So what about your school? How much carbon does it produce, and how does your school compare to other schools? Well, we already have the answer, and you can see it for yourself by visiting this website. Also, check out the mini carbon cubes in your school. Each one represents 10 grams of carbon. They're in your school lobby right now. Next year, Zerofootprint and the Toronto Catholic District School Board are teaming up to create the Zerofootprint Challenge. It's a competition that will challenge you to change your school's footprint and compete against other schools to see who can reduce the most. It starts next year, but check out the site now. Who will you choose to challenge? Let's start by taking charge of our future and being stewards of the earth today. Every student has the power and the ability to do so, and the Zero Footprint Challenge will help get you there.